Hello guys, today we'll be deploying Ella Core in a simulated environment on Docker, and along with that we'll be testing the whole end-to-end setup with UERANSIM. So let's start with the basic documentation that Ella Core provides. Okay, so this is the documentation page of Ella Core, and if you want to check out the GitHub, then you can click here and explore all the code base and everything, and they are very much active nowadays. So let's get back to the tutorials part. So in the tutorial part we have two tutorials. To getting started, one is a basic one, but for the end-to-end setup, you need to go for this one. So this is the whole topology that they are using, right? And they're using DV and SIM for the overall testing. So you need not to have any 5G radio or something to test it. So for the deployment, I have this VM, which is very basic, and it's a, let me show you the specs. So this VM is very basic, and it only had 2 CPU cores and 2 gigs of memory. Along with that, this is the kernel version I'm using right now, and this is the version that I'm using right now for the testing. So first of all, what we need to do is we need Docker as a prerequisite. So let's install Docker. So I have a bash script that I'm using right now to install all the things quickly, but it depends on you, whatever way you want to use. You can just install Docker and continue. And once Docker is installed, we can move with the further documentation. So the steps are very simple. You can see they are using Docker for this deployment, and simply just creating a directory, copy paste to this compose file, and we need to do Docker compose up. So let's do it. Okay, I need to log in again. That's working fine. Created a directory, and now we can make the Docker compose.yaml and paste all the content into this. And some things that you can modify according to your need is like the image. If you want some specific version, import is like it's fine. And these are some internal interfaces that Docker is going to create and use for further testing. And the UERANSIM also is also included in this YAML file as well. So yeah, let's save it, and simply we can do Docker compose up. Okay, so you can see starting Ella Core logs. The version is this and that, and these are a few logs for the initialization. So it means Ella Core is working fine now. We can also have a look on the dashboard because now it's working. We can go to this page. So now you can see we have access to Ella Core dashboard, and now the instructions say that you can use this email and password, so we can do it. Okay, great. Let me just, now it's fine. So you can see now this is the Ella Core dashboard, and it's looking really good. We have all the matrices, everything here, the network status for the radio subscribers, active sessions, and everything. And here we can also see some events or logs, whatever we call it, after the connection with the URNSM, the G0D and the UE. So let's move further and let's create a new subscriber with these details. So go to subscriber, create, paste it, save with the key, and we can provide OPC as well. And that's it. Okay, now subscriber is created, and we can see it shows deregistered. Even in the radios, there is nothing. So now it's time to integrate the G0D and the UE card. Okay, and we can just SSH and 5. Similarly for okay. Now here we'll be using UERANSIM, and we can start a G0D, I guess. So we can go to Ella and just wait, and yeah, you can also see some logs, new radio added to this address and everything. And if you go to the dashboard, now you can see the radio with the ID and the name. And the interesting thing is the events. If you go here, you can see the in-gap setup request and response along with this message content. Here you can see some critical details like the tag, PLMN, NSSCI, and all those things, which is really good. And this is the response. So, okay, now let's try to connect our UE. Great. So for UE, let me create some blank spaces and go to Ella and run this. That's it. So now you can see the interface is also created and the video is complete with this IP. And you can see these logs as well for the UE. For example, you can see the received NAS message and other details as well. For example, yeah, here you can see the allocated IPs, the SUPI, and QoS enforcement rules. Okay, great. So now we can quickly do a ping test as well. Let me create some space for that as well. And we can also have a look on the dashboard. If you go to subscribers, now it shows registered and the IP address matches the one which the logs are showing. So great. We can also have a look on the logs. We've got radio and emails. So now you can see all the message types and protocols of NGAP. So if you go to any of these, let's say PD session resource setup request and response, you can see these details. Similarly, for uplink NAS transport and initial context setup, request and response, all these things are possible. And you can see the radios, subscribers, and active sessions, which are currently connected. Now let's do a ping test. Okay, now validating the connection. You already done this. Now let's go inside the UERANSIM container. You can see the UE SIM tunnel interface with the IP of the UE, and we can do a quick ping test. Oh, it works great. Now it's time to clean all the mess we have created. Okay, that's it. Yeah, cool. So this was all about the demo, and see you in the next one. In the next demo, we'll be demonstrating about the whole this end-to-end 5G network with Ella Core, but this time we'll be using the host deployment of Ella Core using the Snap, and we'll be using the SDR and some Quectel for making the connection in a real world environment.